Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would show a new product that it's actually new to me. For those of you that may have issues with coloring or you're not, maybe it's harder to color for you with Copics and that kind of thing. I have a really fun product that that I kind of just randomly discovered. I had bought this stamp from Pink Fresh Studio, and I love floral stamps. And it came with this, there was an option to get this set of stencils with it. And I was thinking, well, I've seen these types of things before. Why don't I try it out and see, what's involved? Because it seemed to me before they seemed a bit tedious, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be something that would be for me. But I'm happy to report that this is just a game changer when it comes to ink blending and coloring. I love using stencils. I love ink blending, and this is a great way to combine them both. So what I'm going to be working with is this clear stamp from Pink Fresh Studio. It's called Happy Blooms Floral. I also purchased the die as well. You don't have to. You can usually just easily trim things out, but a lot of times for a stamp that I'm going to get a lot of use out of, I will get the matching die, especially if it's for a floral, because if I make a lot of cards with that, it's helpful to have that option. So I went ahead and I bought the die with it. And then this is the stencil set that you can also purchase. And it comes with 4 stencils, and all you do is, and I'll demonstrate this in a minute, but you line up the different parts of the stencil to the different parts of the stamp. So, and you'll see how easy it is. It seems kind of scary at first when you're looking at it, because you're like, how am I going to know which stencil to use for what? It's very easy. But you can line up the florals, you line up the leaves, and then you just kind of line each part of the flower up with a stencil, and it goes by really quickly. You pick your colors, ink blend, and you've got a card. So it's really nice. So let me go ahead and get started with showing you how this works. So I chose, I'm using some distress inks today. You could use oxides. I think either one works fine for this particular project. I decided I'm going to do, I picked 2 colors of each distress ink so that I can do some shading and that kind of thing. So I'm going to do some blue flowers, some pink flowers, and then also some yellow. So this spiced marmalade I'm going to kind of use to shadow a little bit around the edges. And then this is what I'm going to use for my leaves. I really like this Lucky Clover. It's kind of like an emeraldy type green. It's really pretty for leaves, and then it goes nicely with the cracked pistachio for kind of the lighter part of the leaf. So I'm using these, and then I'm just going to start off with stamping my image on a piece of white cardstock, just a cardstock panel. And I'm just going to speed this video up a little bit just so that it doesn't end up going too long. I'm using my favorite black ink from Hero Arts. It's just their black dye ink. And I'm just going to stamp the flower right on my cardstock there. I'm using my Stamptabulous tool. It's from Etsy. I think I've talked about it before. It's great to use with a stamping platform because you get kind of an even distribution of the ink when you close the lid on the Misty or whatever stamping tool you're using. It's nice because then you don't have to use your hand so much and your hand doesn't get tired. So then I'm choosing my stencil to start with, and as you'll see down below, I have my cardstock on top of this Make Art Station by Wendy Vecchi. I love this thing for stenciling because you can put your stencil on top of your cardstock, and then you use the magnets to hold everything on, and so it keeps everything from moving and getting your ink smeared and that kind of thing. So I'm using my first stencil, and then I have my Distress Ink mini daubers that I'm going to be using to add the ink to. And I'm starting off with just my Distress Ink here in, I think I end up changing the color. I'm using Kitsch Flamingo, but then I think I'm going to switch over to Spun Sugar because I think it's a little dark. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm switching over to sponge sugar. I'm using this as my light color over the flower. And then I'm going to use picked raspberry as a shadow. So I'm just using my mini sponge dauber to go over the top of the stencil. And you'll see that the stencil lined up really easily to the stamped image there. And you can start with any stencil of the 4. It doesn't matter. I just started with the floral ones. I usually do the florals and then I end with the leaves. So I'm just adding a little bit of shadowing with the picked raspberry. And I keep all my Distress ink daubers in one little container. And then I just kind of keep them in rainbow order. And I don't clean them off or anything. I just put them in, according to whatever color I used. And so it makes it really easy just to kind of grab and go. So now I'm adding some yellow to this daffodil. I'm just going to color the whole thing in yellow and then kind of shade with this, like the kind of orange color. I'll list all the colors that I use down below. But I really like adding the shadow because with the stencil, it helps you to stay in the lines. And that's the whole thing that I love about this product is that it makes it really easy to stay in the lines. But I look at that ink blending. I just think it's so pretty and it makes it so easy. So then I'm ready to stick the second stencil on and color in some more flowers. And then you just kind of, and if you have a color palette already chosen, you can make these cards really quickly. If you know what you're going to use, you just pop each stencil on really quick and then add your colors. I mean, all you need is about 2. If you're going to get really crazy, you can do 3 and kind of add even more shading. But really 2 is all you need, and you can get a really nice effect with that. But so I really love this this option for stenciling the color on. Pink Fresh Studio has a lot of different stencil stamp combinations. This is the only one that I have. I believe that Altenew has some too. But I think I might get another one of these because I use a lot of the Pink Fresh Studio flower stamps. So I think I may be getting more. I was looking for some for Christmas and they didn't have any. So maybe next year. So I'm just adding some blue for the blue flowers, and I'm going to just shade with the darker color blue. Salty Ocean, I think that's it. That's my favorite blue to use on flowers. And then we're going to get started with the leaves. And again, I'm just lining everything up. I like the Make Art Station thing too, the little metal thing that I have underneath my cardstock, because you can kind of dab off your dauber on top of that and it wipes off really easily. So I don't know how many of you don't like getting ink or anything on your craft mat, even though that's what it's for. I like to have a clean craft mat, so I always end up putting something underneath it. I usually have my glass mat on top when I'm not filming, but if I'm filming, the glass mat has a glare, so I take that off and use my my regular mat. But so you can see how that looks really pretty. I got all the leaves in there. And then I'm ready for the last stencil. I'm just finishing off the leaves, and this one goes really quickly because there's just a couple of really small leaves to get in there. And I love the combination of that Lucky Clover and Cracked Pistachio. It's really, it's just a really good combination. One thing I wanted to add was the reason I'm using Distress ink is because it's less solid than the Distress oxides. But if you like the Distress oxides, I would recommend heat embossing your stamped image with either a black powder or a clear powder over like a VersaFine black ink. And then you could use the Distress Oxide and it won't cover up the black lines. So that's just another option. So I'm all set to die cut the flowers out. I'm going to do that really quickly. and then kind of arrange my card so you can kind of see what everything looks like. And I like that you get the two separate florals out of this, because like I said, you can use them separately, but then I like to layer them. It gives like a nice kind of clean and layered look to a card. So I'm ready to go with that. I'm just going to grab a white note card, and I also have a piece of pattern paper that is from, I have a bunch of 6x6 paper pads, and I also have a lot of 6x6 pieces of loose paper where I went through the paper pads and just pulled the things that I liked. And so I just grabbed a piece of the 6x6 that kind of coordinates with the flower colors, and I'm just adding that to the front of the card. And I love to use the 6x6 paper pads for cards because it's got the really tiny background images on there. And this is a really nice diagonal line blue. I thought it looks really good with the blue flowers. So I'm trying to figure out how to layer my flowers so that I get a little bit hanging over the edge of the pattern paper. But then I kind of want everything clustered together. When I make a card, I like to make sure everything is touching. So the sentiment and the flowers, I'm going to kind of cluster them together so it gives it's like pleasing to the eye. So what I do is I kind of add adhesive to everything and then just arrange it. And then when I like where it is, I smush everything down. So when I'm happy with where it's placed. And I'm just using these little dimensional dots to add to the back of the flower cluster there. And the sentiment is from Paper Tray Ink, Bold and Beautiful Sentiments. I really like this this bold sentiment. I use this stamp set a lot. It goes great with floral stamps. And there you have it. I've got everything kind of clustered together, just a nice clean and layered card. And it was really easy with the stencils. So thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you in my next video.